Hey guys, I wanted to do a video discussing my experience with Madden 23 and some first impressions that I've had with the game and share it with people that follow me, you guys, anybody in the sim community, somebody who's on the fence about buying the game, who's not really sure if they want to buy the game or if they think it's a bad game, good game for a sim gamer. And I'm going to kind of share with you my experience with it and see if I can, just kind of help some people out and just share my thoughts about Madden 23. So before I start going, I'm going to go ahead and play this game here. I'm going to be the Eagles, but before I start off, I'm just going to give you some background for those who didn't catch my streams. I basically got a PS5 about a week and a half ago, and when I picked it up, I hooked it up to my 4K TV, and I was instantly thinking, what games am I going to play? Madden 23 just came out. They gave me a credit as part of the, uh, basically a free game as part of the bundle that I got. And so I went ahead and I picked up Madden. It wasn't an easy choice for me. I haven't bought Madden in a long time. You guys who follow me, you guys know that I'm a 2K football fan. Madden for me has not been really the game of choice. I've had plenty of videos and plenty of I've even had a podcast on it and talking about simulation games, and I made my own game, Legend Bowl. You guys know, and I only picked this game up because I got a system, and I figured I haven't played it in a long time. I really haven't dove into the game or whatever, and I uh, I played the EA trial for about an hour and a half on my son's Xbox Series X. And I thought it wasn't horrible. I thought it was, had some things to it that, you know, that that had some potential, right? So I went ahead and picked up the game and I brought it home. I brought it home. I downloaded it and I was playing it a bunch. And I put it on streams because I wanted you guys to share that experience with me firsthand and kind of see how I felt about the game. So that's the background, and that's kind of where we got up to before actually playing the game. So after all that, I went ahead and threw the game in, and I started playing around with it. And I immediately, the first thing you're going to notice are the graphics, especially if you haven't played it in a long time, and if you're playing older games, especially, the graphics are just pretty amazing compared to the games of the past, right? We're in 2022, and the technology compared to over a decade and a half ago is quite different, right? So that immediately blew me away. Um, they have great animations as far as like, not animations, great graphics. The animations we'll get into, but the graphics are really nice. The presentation has some things that are decent, and it's not at first glance it's not a horrible game. You jump into the game and you're like, wait a second, this game, you know but part of it too, which I'm trying to really understand after having it for about a week and a half and playing it quite a bit. um, Speaking of playing it, I've played the game for about 30 games. Okay, I've played about half a season in franchise mode, and I've really put the game through. And there you go, and I threw it there on purpose just to see what would happen. Um, and that's one of the problems with this game. And by the way, when I turned the game on today, it actually downloaded an update. So there is an update to the game. I'm not 100% sure of everything that went in there, but from the quick lookup that I did online, it showed that there was an attempt to fix the blitzing issue that was happening in the game, and then some other minor issues that they. So I don't know. I don't think it's fixed the interception issues that we'll get into, but it definitely has apparently done something to the game. So we'll see if I can even notice that. But anyways, going back to this quote unquote first impressions type of review thing. So the first thing that you feel, and what's really the to me, the highlight of this game are the graphics, right? The grass is crisp, it's 3D, it has texture to it. The lighting is fantastic. The player models look pretty good. Their face scans look better than I think they have in the years past. The head coaches, as you can see there, those look, those are looking better. Is it perfect? No. Do they have every single perfect face or scan? No. I mean, Kirk Cousins' face doesn't look right when I played with them as Minnesota. And there are some players, and even some high caliber players like him, who are noticeable players and recognizable players in the NFL. They don't even show their faces the best, but they are better. And here's the thing about what I see people doing. And I watched Angry Joe's review and his rant, and it sounded very similar to last year's. And I think what a lot of people do is they compare this game to what it could be and should be for the amount of revenue they make and for the amount of money the company has. So they put it on a pedestal that it should, honestly, it should be put on, right? But when I look at the game, I look at it from the standpoint of what options do we have, and what, especially when it comes to NFL, and I also look at it from a developer standpoint. How hard would it be for an indie developer like myself to make a game like this? And to be honest with you, it's pretty impossible. There's so much in this game as far as assets go. I mean, even that animation right there, you know how long it would take an indie developer to do that? It would take them a long time. I mean, their trailers that they do would take a long time. So to compare this game to an indie developer game, or a game that somebody can do with a small team, isn't even feasible. It's not even fair. So when I look at it, I'm looking at it from that perspective, because I can't, for the past decade and a half, I've looked at this game and compared it to 2K. The problem that we have now, at least I have, is that we're almost, a decade and a half later, right? Over a decade and a half. And in technology terms, that's a long, long time. And I just find it very hard to play the old games. I mean, All Pro Football is still my favorite football engine of all time. The game is really, really solid on the field. Is it perfect? No, but it's awesome, and I love it. But it's also an old game, and I can deal with the graphics not being great because it's an old game and they don't look that bad when you put them on a nice TV. My problem with the game is we never really have a great roster for it. It also has a very limited amount of teams you can actually put in the game. I made a mod for it, as you guys probably are aware of, and that mod, it does a lot for the game, and people continue to support the mod and use the mod all the time, and I suggest anybody who's not happy with the current product that they do the same. And so this is going to be a long video, but I think it's worth listening to if you're on the fence about the game. I'm going to give you like a summary of what I've been experiencing, and kind of my experience as well, like why I picked this up, why I thought it might be worth a shot. That's going to be INT, no. But really, for me, the games of the past are so old, and this is really the only option. And I can tell you that the gameplay is not horrible. It's not horrible. They've added some things to it that, make it kind of new and different, at least for somebody like me. The passing mechanic there, you can now, do a little bit of target passing. And on the field, the players are running better than they used to. As far as I'm concerned, you can actually run through holes like that. You can cut on a dime a little bit easier. I went into the practice mode and I did a stream. One of those streams show how the player runs in the practice field, and the running is pretty solid. I mean, the momentum the guy runs back and forth is great. The problem with the animations is not so much the running in free, in a free area, but when you collide. When you collide with anybody in this game, that's when you get those ragdoll physics where you feel like the players are being held up by a string. It looks very, very odd. It does not really look next gen at all. and it's just horrible in my opinion. It looks very bad. So whenever I see that, I just have to kind of ignore it and look past it. And that's the thing. Like for me, it's like I got this game because I wanted to experience football, NFL football on a next gen system and a nice 4K TV, and there's no other option right now, right? That's going to be intercepted. Yep. And I'm trying to throw tighter passes, guys, because I want to see if the interception sliders or this patch did anything different. And apparently it hasn't touched the interceptions because they're not dropping them like they used to. And I actually have the interception sliders all the way down. Speaking of sliders, I've actually gone through, I did an entire stream on it where I went through and I changed sliders from 0 to 100 and anywhere in between, and it did not fix anything with the interceptions. The blocking, it barely changed the blocking and the blitz issues that the game had. So sliders are basically broken in my opinion. And that's, to be honest, that's the last time I streamed, because at that point I was like, well, wait a second. If I can't change sliders to make the game better and fix the issues that it has on the field, then you kind of feel like you're lost. Now you have no chance of making this game anywhere near what it could potentially be, which is nowhere near 2K football. Like 2K football still does it the best in my opinion. But it could maybe be a little bit of a more enjoyable experience if you could do something with the sliders, and to be honest, they don't work. So I don't know what's going on there. So I stopped really playing the game, you know. This camera thing that they're doing, they're trying to make you feel a little bit rattled, and there's momentum in the game. So there's things that happen as you're playing the game where if you're winning or you're losing, momentum plays in, and you can see on the right, the home team receivers can receive incorrect hot routes. Away defense can see primary receiver routes. So there's things that happen in the game as your momentum changes, and it's not a bad idea, but it's also really nothing worthwhile. I mean, the meat of the game is on the field for me, and like I said, it's decent. One thing you're going to find, which I know people like Angry Joe, they'll complain about, you're going to have glitches. You're going to see weird things. I mean, I've had multiple times where there's been some weird bugs in the game. You'll see players on the sideline do weird things. Like that guy just ran. This guy's just running over these guys right here as we're talking. If you look at this game from the perspective of what MLB The Show does and what NBA 2K does and modern games do, this game has a lot to be desired, right? And that's what I think I'm getting to with all of this. The gameplay, like I said, for somebody who hasn't played it in a long time and wants a decent game to play, I think it's better than the ones I've played in the past. I think it has, I think it has some things about the gameplay. The running game, you feel like you can run through holes. The way the players run on the field is better. The target passing I like. On the field, it actually feels better on the field, but the animations when you run into people, when you have collisions, are bad, very bad. They're actually horrible. And I think the only way really around that is to stop trying to make the game so physics heavy, because when that happens, you really can't control the animations very well when players collide. So that's a big problem. The announcers are the same as they've always been. Nothing's changed there. So you'll have the same thing with the announcers. What else? Like I said before, there's some issues with the game. One of the major issues are interceptions. That's the biggest problem I have with the game right now. People have problems with the blitzing and the way that the AI can just blast through and block shed. That is a problem. But for me, it's nowhere near as glaring as the interception issue. Interceptions are abundant in this game. Now you have the target passing where you can do some things, and I kind of like the difficulty of that you don't want to throw into an area where there are receivers, but it's just way, way overpowered. And the fact that they didn't fix it in this patch is alarming. and concerning. So you guys know how I feel about EA. You guys know how I feel about this series, and I'm not happy. And I've been miserable with football for a long time, and I made my own game. And people tell me, and I'll get to my game in a second, but people tell me all the time that my game plays better than Madden, and it actually does sometimes, to be honest with you. You know, the game is pretty solid, and because I've put what I put into that game was sweat, tears, and a passion for football on the field. That was my like even that celebration right there. He's sliding into the guy and he starts to trip over, all weird looking. That's a problem. You know, people have issues with that, and they are not going to be happy. There you go. They're not going to be happy with AAA title with $1 billion company. What the hell was that? $1 billion company where, and that's 3 interceptions, right? And yes, I'm throwing somewhat into a little bit of coverage, but this is ridiculous, right? And so the way you have to play the game is you have to play it like anything anywhere near within 5 yards of anybody could be an interception, no matter what you do with the target passing. Okay, and that's pretty frustrating and pretty annoying. The franchise mode is kind of weak, to be honest with you. The halftime show is weak, and when I say the franchise mode is weak, it's because I don't really see too much going on there. They have these new, to me, it's new. I don't know how long they've been in the game. Cut scenes where you can actually like see the coach talk to the press, or see the coach a scene where the coach is talking to the player, and you really don't have. You can choose like 1 out of 2 answers, and it's a small baby level of RPG, I guess, in it. But it really is very watered down and worthless. Like there's no look at this guy wide open. Oh no, I didn't even see that guy over there. I don't even know how he caught that. Um, the guy was hiding in the logo. I couldn't even see him. The Redskins player or Commanders. So the franchise is, to me, it's pretty weak. That's not. There's definitely not anything good about the franchise that I can see. You just go through your games, and the storylines are pretty worthless. They have an area where you can look at news, and it's just a list of things going on in the game, and it's not really very deep. And then there's a part where you can actually show clips. So like you can go into your game and you can take a screenshot of the current game you're playing as you're playing it, and you can actually put that on the news, but then the next week it's gone. So it's like, or at least that's, I couldn't find a way to get back to it. So it's just pretty basic to me. And for me though, I want gameplay, right? I'm about trying to get some kind of gameplay, and really I'm just trying to make um, this next gen game something I can play here and there. And I can tell you that after playing it for about a week or so, I'm losing my desire to try and play it. I've only played it all the way up to the last stream, and then I actually played one game since then, and I was it was pretty uneventful and it was boring, to be honest. I think if they fix the interception issues, it will have a little bit better of and even when you run like that, they close up on you pretty fast and stop you from running. It's a kind of a glitchy thing. When you start running towards the line with your quarterback, they immediately break their tackles and they get you. There's hardly any way out a lot of times. So that's also an issue. Um, this kicking meter is absolutely ridiculous that this is what they have. They can't do what 2K does, which I think is still the best. 2K8 has the best kicking meter or kicking mechanic in a game. Um, and I know this is a very live, raw review. I have my headset on. I'm not doing anything special. I just want to give you guys who follow me a very raw synopsis of how I feel about this game. And basically, the thing is if you have $70, I think you should keep it in your pocket. I think if you have a credit or a voucher or something like that, you may be on the fence and may look at getting into this. And I think it's really, if you want to play your next gen system, which is why I think this kind of worked out for me. If you want to play your next gen system and you have an easy way to get the game for free or dirt cheap, then pick it up because I think it will give you some enjoyment. Another thing I just remembered is when you're on defense, you can do the tackle where you go down to their legs like a low tackle. That animation and the success of that happening, so it's basically pushing down, like pulling the right stick down to do a low tackle, a low like big hit type of tackle. It's very OP in my opinion. I can almost get it like 95% of the time. And I'll try to show you here if I can get a chance to do it. I'll show you before this is over. I can get a chance, but that's horrible. I don't like that. But the way I feel about it after a week and a half is I don't really have a desire to play it. Playing it is something you kind of force yourself to do. It does not feel like an immersive game. The franchise mode is very boring. The gameplay on the field, and you can watch my streams. Go ahead and watch them. I kept them up there for you guys to watch. I think I was enamored with the graphics. The running in the game is better, a lot better. I think it's probably one of the best running football games we've ever seen. When you see a player just running in the open field. But when you see the collisions, when you see the bugs in the game, I mean, I had times in the game where I pushed pause, I came back, and the game was like out of the stadium, like moving around, and that's why people do a lot of those videos because there's a percentage of those things that happen in the game where the game has these weird moments where it's like, okay, I can't press pause, I can't get out of the game locks up, it crashes. There's some weird animations you see. There's some weird cutscenes where it's like I was stuck. Literally, I was stuck where it was showing me the outside of the stadium and going around the stadium, and I couldn't do anything. And I had to turn it off for me to be able to do it. It's another interception. Oh, I'm surprised I didn't grab that one. So that's the other problem with the game is you're going to. But you know what's crazy is that I don't even like penalize the game that much for that because I'm just so used to it like happening in Madden. It's like if I see something like that, I'm like, okay, well, I only saw it once this game, and I'm kind of pleased that it wasn't the entire game, right? And so I think for me, it's the fact that I want to play an NFL game that I don't have to worry about roster updating. I don't have to worry about going onto an old system with an old console. I don't have to worry about making my own roster or dealing with rosters that nobody really did well, right? So what are you getting for this? You get nice graphics. You get to see your team with the latest rosters. They have mud in the game, which I won't even touch, and they advertise it to you all the time throughout the game. These are the halftime. This is the halftime show here. It's pretty basic. It's not really worth much, but it does go through some stats. It has some things on there that they do. I hate this part. I don't really like this part at all, where you set your offensive and defensive focuses. I can't stand that. It's pretty worthless. It's like filler. They have a lot of filler stuff like that in the game. Even when you're playing the franchise mode, you can upgrade your players, and and your staff, and I have no idea if that even does anything or is worth doing. Like, there's a lot of things like that that are in franchise that are just like, eh. The sliders are completely broken. They don't do anything to the gameplay as far as I can tell. The one thing I did notice that they do is the QB accuracy, but the main problems with the game, which are the interceptions and such, they don't really do much. So here's the thing: if you're on the fence and you're really dying to get football, NFL, I don't think you're going to love this. Actually, I know you're not going to love the game. It's not going to be your answer to. It's not going to be a substitution for 2K making an NFL sim football game. It's a convenient way to play, and if you really want to try to make the game work for you, you can have a little bit of fun with it. I think they have to fix the interception issue. They have to make the gameplay better. They have to fix a lot of the glitches I see. Franchise mode is lackluster, but you can kind of get through it and try to enjoy it, I guess, for whatever it is. You can go through a real schedule, but you're enjoying the basics of it. So Do I think it's worth $70? No way in hell. But I do feel like they say, like everyone says, it's a step in the right direction, right? It's not pitiful. It's playable. It's playable, and they are doing some things that I think are heading in the right direction. I do like the running. I do like some of the player interactions. I don't like the animations. There are some bugs and issues with the game, obviously. The interceptions is literally a game breaker. When I knew I couldn't change the sliders, I basically stopped playing the game because unless they fix the interception issue, the game is really not worth a penny, in my opinion. And I guess this patch didn't fix it either, so that's kind of frustrating. To spend $70 on a game like this that's been out for so long and has had so many issues, there's no excuse, and that's why people are upset. So I say keep your money in your pocket unless you can get the game for dirt cheap and you want to try to have a little bit of fun with it. If they fix the interceptions, I think it's a little bit less. Um, I think maybe it's a little bit more viable, but I don't think it's still worth the $70. I say go buy NBA 2K, go buy MLB The Show, go buy Legend Bowl. You know, Legend Bowl's coming to console soon, and we are in the middle of a final patch for the gameplay. And think about this: the game has been worked on for over almost 5 years now, and I'm just putting out another patch that's working on gameplay improvements, AI improvements, clock management improvements, play calling improvements for the AI, a bunch of fixes, some new things that people wanted to add in the Discord and on the beta team that we all wanted to add, just improving the game overall and not just trying to sell people the game with marketing tactics and trailers and things that make you, like the NFL, entice you to want to buy the game. So be on the lookout for that new patch coming out. It should be coming out very soon. And I wanted to do this video because I wanted to share my thoughts. I know it's long. I know it's rambly. I know I'm not showing you all the different things in the game with great editing on a video. This is a raw take. Am I going to play this game, continue to play this game? I don't know. If I do it, I'll play it just to try to see if I can have any fun with it. And really, because I wasted a free game on, $70 worth of a game on this game, and I would just try to make the most of it. But I do think it's better than some of the ones I've played in the past. I can say this. The ones I've played in the past, I wouldn't even be able to stomach the game for 10 minutes. But I also think that a lot of it has to do with the graphics. Like that replay right there, it doesn't look bad. It looks pretty awesome. But that's the graphics mostly. Okay? It's not that the gameplay is phenomenal. Look at the way that guy looks there. Look at the coach. Those are the parts that make you really want to try and get through a game. And I can get through a game, but they definitely need to fix the interceptions. I can't say that enough. If they don't fix that, the game's worthless. And that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, if you want to know any more, let me know in the comments. I'll leave more feedback. If they update the interceptions, I might do another video to kind of share with you. But that's how I feel about Madden. And can you have some fun with it? Yes. Is it perfect? No way. Is it playable? Kind of. And should you pick it up? I say probably not. But that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And look out for that Legend Bowl patch because we are working on gameplay, and the gameplay is looking tight. All right, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.